I think there are various issues, various aspects to look at when we talk about Kashmir, and I'm sure a lot of people here will have several questions, and Ankit probably has even more questions. I will stop here and let him question me and let others also raise their questions. Thank you so much for this honor.
Well, Aarti, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. I hope I'm not going to question you. That sounds a little adversarial. I'm hoping we can have a pleasant conversation on many of these issues that you raised. So I want to begin with, I guess, a very academic point, so to speak, on the revocation of special status for Kashmir. In the movement from autonomy to union territory status, it seems one of the new problems that India will have to deal with is the relationship between the center and the periphery. New Delhi will be exercising authority it previously did not have over Kashmir, and that's likely to result in certain tensions. And you made a very passionate plea for democracy being first principle here. So how can New Delhi, as it eases Kashmir into union territory status, which as of today is just a few days old, in doing this, what are the steps that should be taken in New Delhi to ensure that democracy and principles of democracy and self-government continue to apply to Kashmir?
Well, the good thing is that the government of India, and I'm not a spokesperson of government of India, I do not represent government, but I come from a position of a field journalist who has studied ground extensively. And the good thing here is that the government of India, this is regardless of the political party, has done enough in the last few years to bring in people into the electoral democracy. We have had recent local body elections in Kashmir, and I am sure that, as I said, youth of Kashmir are looking forward to participating in democracy. My whole point of what I was saying earlier, the newer generations are going to determine the new politics of Kashmir. It is not going to be the same regressive politics of separatism, of confusion, of ambiguity that Kashmir saw in the last 72 years. There is a section within Kashmiri society which is going out of its way to reach out to people for local body elections. They are reaching out to people for prospective assembly elections, because Jammu and Kashmir is going to have a legislative assembly, unlike Ladakh, which will not have. The other thing about democracy in Kashmir is the fact that a lot of people, majority of people have cooperated with the state, unlike in the past. For example, in 2016, when Mr. Mujahideen commander Burhan Wani was killed by the security forces, the entire valley erupted in violence. That kind of violence we did not see this time in 2019, even as the security forces anticipated violence. There has been no violence between security forces and the civilian population. The only violence that has happened in the last 3 months is the one perpetrated by Pakistan-backed militaries. So what does that indicate? It indicates that the larger section of Kashmiri society is looking at electoral politics, it is looking at constitutional means, even if it may be dejected, disillusioned, and unhappy, and also anxious about revocation of special status of Jammu and Kashmir. I think they are looking at constitutional means, simply because a lot of people from Kashmir have gone to the Supreme Court of India, challenging the government of India's position. Now, we don't know which way the Supreme Court of India will go, but the very fact that people have reposed faith in an institution of India, have posed faith in the apex court of India, goes to show that they still believe in the idea of India, they still believe in the institutions and democratic setup of India.
So going forward, so I work in political risk, and we always look for indicators that might be helpful for potential clients, investors interested in looking at a certain problem set. And I think with Kashmir, this is certainly something that a lot of people are thinking about right now, in and outside of India. In your mind, over the next, let's say 6 months, we're about 3 months out from the August 5th decision, actually one more day until 3 months, what are some of the indicators that you're going to look for that things are going well? Because right now the situation remains abnormal, but the government has said that normalcy will hopefully be restored over time. What are you looking to see?
Well, the biggest indicator, as I said, the non-existence of violence between security forces and people. That's the biggest indicator, because in the last 20 years, Kashmir would erupt into violence over very small issues. It would go into a frenzy on the streets on the minutest issues, whether it was 2016 or whether it was 2010 or whether it was 2008 or 9. So the biggest factor is non-violence. So I am positive about that. When a society chooses not to commit violence and to show faith in a procedure, in an institution, and the overall democratic setup, I think we should draw a positive lesson from that. The second indicator, of course, are the recent elections. Even if you would say that larger number of people did not participate, but the fact that people participated define militants, define separatists, define the kind of intimidation that Pakistan terror groups have been trying to make in the last 3 months. So that is a big enough indicator to show that the people of Kashmir are thinking on different lines altogether. They are not with militancy, they are not with Pakistan, they are not even with the mainstream politicians whom they consider their representatives or who themselves presented themselves as representatives. So what we are really looking at is a society which is interested in a different dynamic than the dynamic that existed in the last 20 years.
So I'm going to push you a little bit on the notion of violence, because I agree that that's a very important indicator of the health of the Kashmir Valley. And certainly we haven't seen anything like the summer of 2016, which was certainly highly notable. But we have had reports of violence. And what are we to make of those reports? From Indian media, foreign media alike, obviously the reporting environment has left a little bit to be desired. But how do you conceptualize that in what you just said about the importance of violence as an indicator?
Well, as I said, the violence that's been perpetrated is the violence committed by militant groups in the last 3 months. The limited amount of violence which we saw, it was in early August, and it was concentrated in a small pocket of Srinagar. Unlike 2016, when violence was widespread across 3 major divisions of Kashmir Valley, North, Center and South, this time the violence, the limited number of protests that we saw were in a pocket which has been traditionally a separatist hotbed. And it's also a pocket where you have excessively radicalized youth who look up to Zakir Musa. Zakir Musa, the guy who was the founder of Al-Qaeda's provincial branch in Kashmir. So we're talking about a section of society which is radical. That's why I said I think one of the biggest challenges for Government of India would be how to de-radicalize that youth. It would be how to prevent this youth from becoming militant, how to bring them back to mainstream society, and how to, in fact, to begin with, how to enter this small pocket, which is, as of today, in a very precarious situation, because this is an area which has been blockading itself. It has cut itself out from the rest of the valley. So that is why I'm saying the larger valley, the larger section of Kashmiri Muslim society is on a positive track, and this limited, concentrated area will be a small problem, but not as big as we are anticipating it will be.
So another of the themes that I drew out from your remarks was about demographics. Certainly a big part of the story. India is a young country, Kashmir is a young region, and you discussed quite rightly the youth and education going forward. One of the concerns that we've heard about with the revocation of special status is that it opens up the door for the transformation of the demographics of Kashmir. Could you speak a little bit more about that?
That's a very good question. The only demographic change that Jammu and Kashmir state has witnessed in the last 72 years is the one caused by ethnic cleansing of Kashmiri Pandits in 1990. An entire indigenous minority community of Kashmir was driven out by Pakistan-backed terrorists in 1990. In last 72 years, despite the fact that Jammu, Ladakh, Kashmir, they are part of the state, which now in fact is not a state, which is now bifurcated into 2 union territories. Jammu region is ethnically different from Kashmir region, and Kashmir region is ethnically different from Ladakh region. All three are diverse. In fact, the entire state, the erstwhile state, was a microcosm of India in its ethnicity, ethnic diversity, in its cultural diversity, in its overall pluralistic traditions. But in last 72 years, none of the regions, none of the ethnic communities from Ladakh and Jammu were able to change demography in Kashmir, even as they had domicile rights, even as they could have changed demographics of Kashmir, which is a Muslim majority region in the state. That did not happen. So I feel overall I'm not anxious about demographic change in Jammu and Kashmir, because demographic change is not easy. If you look at the states in the rest of India, with or without 370, demographic change hasn't happened. Bengal hasn't become Punjabi. Odisha hasn't become Tamil. Tamil Nadu has not become Kerala. You have these ethnic communities living the way they have been for thousands of years. Demographics is not easy to change. So I think a lot of anxieties that Kashmiri Muslim people have about demographic change are unfounded. But I think there is a valid and legitimate anxiety about businesses in Kashmir. There is the legitimate concern about jobs. There is, of course, a legitimate concern about Kashmiri Pandits returning to Valley. After all, how do you fix that, how do you fix something as horrendous as ethnic cleansing? How do you move them back